The Twitter hackers were focused on a Bitcoin scam. Are we actually lucky, Nigel, that this sort of hack wasn't used for even more sinister purposes? I mean, it appears as though even more damage could have been done very easily.
Yes, good afternoon, and it really is quite a serious intrusion into the Twitter infrastructure. Traditionally, we just had isolated people who had their account compromised, usually by account takeover, password, etc. But in this matter, it was the whole infrastructure, and some of these are high net worth individuals that have huge followings. And if they'd said market sensitive things like, I'm buying into this product or I'm selling out of that, could have had huge implications across the whole economy.
So how much confidence can Twitter users have in the platform after the hack?
Well, that's what it all comes down to, is trust and confidence. And the whole reason that we have that blue tick next to certain people's names was you could verify it was actually that person and not a spoofed account. So people are going to be wary, and they probably should be wary. But unfortunately, this is just another example of online not going quite so well for individuals.
We've also seen reports overnight coming out of the US, the UK and Canada. They're saying that Russian hackers are targeting coronavirus vaccine research. Do we know if they were successful in getting the data? Is it believed that the hackers are state-backed, or are they in it for commercial gains? What do we know?
I think it's all of the above. So state-based actors are often in it for commercial reasons as well as political and other geopolitical reasons. And this is quite an interesting aspect because we have a lot of data already shared multinationally between the 80 to 90 odd universities and research groups out there trying to come up with a vaccine. And for the British to actually make it formal on their website that the Russians are trying to intrude and steal the intellectual property is quite an interesting thing in itself. Of course, state actors are after state secrets, they're after trade negotiations, they're after intellectual property, and they want to monetise that. They probably want to use it for their own purposes to make their own vaccine as well. So, dare I say, disappointing. Can't say I'm surprised by the Russians doing this sort of thing. It's their standard MO.
Yeah, and the coronavirus vaccine, or the potential for one, of course, the holy grail for everyone at the moment. We are hearing more and more about disinformation campaigns, and we've heard a lot of it stemming from Russia as well as we get closer to the US election. Just how difficult is it to actually track as to whether or not these campaigns are generated domestically by political enemies or by foreign agents that have their own agendas?
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about this a lot in the lead up to the 2020 US election. We've already seen bits and pieces of it. So some things to consider when we look at disinformation campaigns. Firstly, as soon as it moves offshore, any actual state's legislation doesn't apply. The second thing is we're probably seeing, rather than the misuse of information, it's more legitimate information that's been slightly tweaked or slightly doctored. And you might remember seeing a couple of weeks ago US President Trump walking down the ramp when he got off Air Force One, the helicopter, and that got slowed down by people, and some voiceover got added to a little bit extra about his fitness for president. Similar with Nancy Pelosi ripping up the document after the President's State of the Union speech. So legitimate footage, but just slightly altered, slowed down, some dramatic music around it, just to really hit people who already have some perceived biases. So this is really going to play out a lot as we get closer to the election.
Yeah, we all need to be savvy users when it comes to the information we're consuming. Nigel Phair, appreciate your analysis. Thank you.